Bitcoin is close to its all-time high. Does it make sense to finally sell? Because in the end, the game is about buying low and selling high. Now, it always feels like this when we are going up, that it will go up forever. And it always feels in a bear market as if it will keep dipping forever. But there are some metrics we can look at to try to determine when a bear market stops, when a bull market stops. Let's have a look at the data. And let's start with something that's very bullish for Bitcoin. The reference price of the market is pretty high. So check out the realized cap net position change, this line here in orange. The change itself is indicated in green and in red. Sometimes you go up, sometimes you go down, but rarely is the price here in black for an extended period of time below this orange line. It happened during the COVID crash, it happened during the FTX collapse, but whenever we are below, it's an extraordinary great time to buy. Now currently that level is very high. The realized cap is at 656 billion. A drop of just 15% or so would already bring us in clear buying territory. So the risk might not be as high as the price might suggest. Just have a look at when we were at comparably high prices. The realized cap had been way lower at that time. And so usually the trend turns around whenever something extreme happens. So there's extreme fear, people realize a lot of their losses, or there is a lot of gains that are currently realized. And so check this out. At the beginning of 2021, we had a massive spike in net realized profit. And that was also when the rally somewhat slowed down. So we moved from 5k all the way to 40k, then a lot of profit was realized, and then we simply just creeped up a little bit more, but really the massive multiple X rally was done. Then we see massive loss taking in summer of 2022. This was also when most of the bear market was already over. Now we've seen that profit taking happening again in the middle of March. I was one of those people that took profit over here, but currently with those new all-time highs in the price, we don't see yet a spike in profit taking. Again, that's a rather positive sign, right? We aren't at any extreme levels, and normally the current trend only turns around at extreme levels, and we are currently bullish. Now here's my favorite metric to determine if long-term holder whales are selling. Because if the diamond hands that own a lot of Bitcoin, when they suddenly move their Bitcoin, that's also when I get scared. And that is when this metric is spiking. The metric is the value days destroyed multiple. So when you hold, say, 10 Bitcoin and you don't move it for 10 days and then you move it after 10 days, then you're destroying 100 value days. Now, the more Bitcoin you hold and for the longer you hold it, and when you then decide to suddenly move those Bitcoin, that's then when this goes up. And this is when we have to be careful. And again, it peaked at around the beginning of 2021 when most of the rally was over. It also peaked in the middle of March of this year, and currently it's still very, very low. The long-term holder whales are not yet selling. Now what's going on? Why is the price moving that high? I believe parts of the explanation is of course the election, but why is it going up even before we knew that Trump is president? It's because of the Bitcoin ETF inflows. We finally see how Wall Street accumulates Bitcoin as a diversifier to stocks. Have a look at the net inflows into Bitcoin. In the last 2 to 3 weeks, pretty much every day has been positive. Now those are the net flows. Here are the flows per instrument. Now what's changed here? I believe the main change is in the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. Initially, we have seen a lot of outflows from BTC because Grayscale has very high fees on their ETF or on their trust. Now we don't see those outflows anymore. The funds that are held by Grayscale simply just stay there. We've already seen the conversion into those cheaper ETFs. So now all the money that flows into the ETFs is net positive, right? Just have a look at this. There's pretty much zero outflows out of BTC anymore. And that's then what's causing those net positive inflows. And so if things continue the same way as they had in the last 14 days, we'd see 6% of the entire Bitcoin supply getting scooped up by the ETFs. The holdings by the ETFs would more than double. And why does this matter? It matters because of this chart. What we've got over here is a correlation matrix between the price development of Bitcoin and the ETF net flows. There's clearly a positive correlation. In other words, when the ETFs scoop up more of Bitcoin, the price tends to go up. And so the long term seems to be very bullish. But what about the short term? Since we've already seen such a massive run up due to Trump winning the election. Let's have a look. There seems to be at the face of it some leverage in the market. For example, over here, the options open interest is very, very high. high. And whenever it's high, it's not necessarily great for Bitcoin. Whenever it's low, it's very good. It means that there's not a lot of leverage in the market. When you buy an option on Bitcoin somewhere, the issuer is hedging themselves by buying Bitcoin spot. And we can also see that not just in the open interest, but also in simply the options trading volume. It's also pretty high, which also historically hasn't been that great. However, we have to look at this in a more differentiated way. It's not just long positions that get opened. It's not just call options. It's not just positions that bet on rising prices. Have a look at the open interest for puts versus calls. When this is high, everybody is betting on rising prices. When this is low, everybody is betting on falling prices. Now, isn't it interesting how the options market tends to be on the wrong side of history? In other words, people were very, very bullish when the market crashed, and people were very, very bearish when the market started to recover. Right now, we don't see any significant direction. So even though we do see a lot of trading volume in the options market, the direction is not clear. Thus, there is no net leverage. Because the issuer is buying Bitcoin whenever you buy a call option, and it's selling Bitcoin whenever you buy a put option. Still, it's very interesting to see those potential breaking points, right? Where Bitcoin might move very, very quickly, where volatility might increase. Most put options or bets on falling prices happen at around $64,000 as a strike. Most call options or bets on rising prices happen around $74,000. And so I am publishing videos on this channel regularly with all kinds of data. I am bullish on Bitcoin. I'm not always bullish on Bitcoin. I try to be as objective as possible on this channel. There's two approaches to crypto, either simply just buying Bitcoin and letting it ride, or there is active trading. For the active trading part, I also cover a lot of meme coins. Feel free to check out this channel. And so if it's your first time here, feel free to subscribe. Feel free to also give this video a like. It helps the channel grow. See you in the next video, or potentially see you in Premium. Premium is more for the active traders. If you're trading meme coins, feel free to check it out. It's down below, thebitcoinstrategy.com.